Hey, what's up everybody? And for today, we'll be going through the step-by-step process of product photography. Quick disclaimer, I am not a professional photographer. I only do this for fun, and I'll be talking through how I think whenever I do a product photography. And I basically divide it into 4 categories. So for each set, obviously we need a scene or a set, and I divided that with 4 categories, as I mentioned, which is basically, first of all, the product, the lighting, the background, and the props. So these 4 are my main things that I consider whenever I'm trying to come up with a scene. So for this sample, I'll be talking through the different elements that's in my photography. First, let's talk about the lighting. The lighting is the most important thing for any photography scene, in any cinematography basically. So it's very critical to have the proper lighting. So I do have a ring light that I've been reusing a lot because I am also a streamer, and I use that ring light to give me that clear front while my background is darker. And also I've been using this aperture light that helps me create an additional layer of dimension or depth to the elements that are in plane of the scene. So I position them in a way that the ring light is right on top to give that top to bottom lighting effect, and then my second layer light will be more focusing on what angle that I want to be focused on. But for this instance, I only use like a front or a side lighting, basically to lift the shadows from the product and the props on the scene. And then the second thing is basically obviously the product. Where do I want the product to be placed? Obviously it has to be somewhere in the front or in the middle, and in this case I did a lot of changing a rearrangement of the product on where it should be. So I did something that's in the middle, on the right side, the left side. So it really depends on what you think or what would be best. But a quick tip, side note, is that, you know, take as many photos as you can. Don't stick with just, you know, placing them all into one place, snapping, and then that's it. I would not see that as a best practice. I mean, if you are good at photography, maybe you can do it in one shot, but for me, I normally do it like probably close to 100 shots before I'm satisfied with one photo. So anyway, so we already have lighting and the lighting and the product. Now next is the background. So background also has a bigger role. Basically the background and the main subject needs to have a little bit of distance in order to create that effect of infinity. In my case, I used a black background, and also creating that distance between the product and the background removes the shadows that you might see in the background, which we don't want. So that's why I stick with a black background. I also did it with a white background, but it really didn't go with my vision when I first thought about this idea. But basically what I've been using is a poster board or an illustration board to just, you know, close to whatever background is on here in my apartment, because we don't want to show that uneven or unattractive parts of those of that particular angle, because I'm basically doing this on my floor. So we have background, we have lighting, we have the prop, and then goes to the props. Obviously you can't just take a photo that only has the product. It's gonna be very bland and a little bit boring, if I may say. So I I realized that I had this bus and a jeep, or sorry, a bus and a basically a Volkswagen vehicle stored up there on my storage on my room that I don't really even use, and it's not even mine. It's the owners of the apartment, and she just left it here. And I thought about, hey, when I woke up this morning, I saw that what can I do with those toys? And then I remembered my friend gave me this deck of cards about the Beatles. So that's how I came up with the idea to making this product photography business. So the Volkswagen plus the Beatles, they really like synergize, right? So I bought it down, I placed them here, and then I finally realized it's a little bit too dark here. So I do have these fairy lights. So I've added the fairy lights inside the bus and under the vehicles to give it that, I don't know, additional texture or lighting effect for the objects, so that it's not just, you know, the top and the front. There's something else going on in the image. So that's it. So again, there are 4 elements here that I consider: the lighting, the prop, the background, and as well as the props. The props are also critical, but I would say the lighting is the most critical, because it really helps you show the definition of the subject that you're trying to capture. So that's how I staged the quick product photography. Now let's head over to Lightroom. Alright, we are now here in Lightroom. I've already pre-selected some of the photos that I want to show to edit, and I picked this one, and we're just gonna go through how I enhance my photos. And basically they're pretty much basic. So the first thing I normally do is, obviously, you know, you take hundreds of photos, but in this case I only shot, well, I actually shot more than this, but I've been deleting and, you know, reviewing and deleting it in camera, so I've only had like 27 on my memory card. But for editing or for enhancing the photo, I normally use Lightroom. And the first thing I need to do, or I always do, is basically adjust the curves. So it's just a minor adjustment to create that contrast, you know. And then I basically press the before and after. See if that's good, or what's that looks like. Create a little bit more shadows and highlights. Right. And then I try to look at the auto, if I like it or not, but in this case I don't really like it, but I do want it to be a little bit more on the warmer side. And then a little bit of that, and then same thing with the color correction tone. I see if I auto it, if I like it, I keep it, but if I don't, I do my own thing. Yeah, let's do auto. I want it to be a little bit more brighter, a little bit more contrast, drops the highlight a little bit further, probably a little bit down on the shadows. The whites, I don't want the whites. Well, let's give it a hue, white, blacker. I normally do dehaze as well. Probably just a little bit, 7 will do. And I really dropped the texture, oh no wait, not the texture, the clarity a little bit, to give it that dreamy feel of what's not in focus. Probably just a little bit. Let's see the before, after, yeah. My keyboard's getting stuck for some reason. Okay, before, after. Okay, that looks good. Looks good to me. And then after doing that, I normally try to modify a few colors here. So for the yellow and, well, the reds, I want it to be, well, let's not change that. Let's keep that as is. I want the yellow to be yellow, because this is the yellow submarine. And the yellows to be a little bit more green, or no, a little bit more reddish. The greens, is there a green? Okay, we don't want to change the green. We do want the aqua to be a little bit more blue, and blue to a little bit more aquatic like that, because before it was like that, but it doesn't really go well with the van, so let's try to match it with the color of the van. Looks good. Check it before, after, that's good. I think it's too much. Purple, is there purple? No, I don't want to touch the purple of this photo. And then we go to saturation, and we try to do adjust orange, adjust yellow to be a little bit more yellow. The blue ones, which the one I turned into aqua, I want it to be more emphasized as well. Let's see what that looks like. Looks good. Luminance per se, this one I want it to be a little bit lighter, and the blue one to be a little bit darker. So I'm really trying to match this section and this section. I want the yellows to be a little bit darker. Same goes, now the orange, I want it a little bit brighter, just a little bit. I'm really take the noise reduction to a 50 or maybe more. Yeah, that looks good. And then I obviously add a little bit of vignettes to make it that moody thing. Yeah, to give it it's really to give it focus on what I'm trying to portray in the photo, because without vignette, if I turn this off, anyways, I mean, it does focus because of the camera, but if you add that, it gives that emphasis on the playing cards. And the other thing that I forgot to do is basically straightening out the photo. I normally just press auto, and if it looks good, yeah, this one is already good, so auto does Lightroom does a pretty good job with alignment basically. And then I try to crop it a little bit, although I already have or want, but I don't like this light showing up. So what I do, I just cut that a little bit out of the frame, probably move it a little bit here, maybe a little bit more downward. I'm using the rule of thirds grid, it's the most basic guidelines, and that looks good. So I don't normally go for front and center. If you would notice, I have the card on the left side, and that's pretty much it. There's not much adjustment that I would do on this photo since I've already set it up in camera, and yeah, that's pretty much it. If you like this kind of video, do give me a thumbs up and subscribe. Do comment down below on what you want me to do next, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace. Oh man. It's not going in. Peace. Hey, what's up everybody? Alright. Hey, what's up everybody? Alright. Third time's the charm. If you like this kind of video, do give me a thumbs up. If you like this kind of video, do give me a thumbs up and subscribe. And drop a comment down below drop a comment down below